What's up? It's necessary that I do my bidding well, and here I am. Send me, Lord. So God's filled my pitcher so that I can pour it out. It is for the election. It's for the woman of promise. God, you might think that he's a tender little lily, but he's shrewd. You know, the servant that was given one talent, he didn't do anything because he was scared. He was paralyzed in fear because he knew how shrewd God could be, that he reapeth where he soweth not. And he has a demand on your faith, on your performance. And after I pour myself out each time I present a video, I get attacked real bad. The enemy this technology, besides just, the spiritual enterprises that attack me, when I'm empty, when my vessel is empty, and it forces me, like the disciples that were in the ship saying, hey, Lord, don't you know these waves that we dive? And so each time, you get attacked, it's a damn good thing because it forces you to go to Jesus. And so he can calm the waves and teach you a lesson that to make you realize Jesus is with you. And so yesterday's video was rather lengthy, and I'm sure that a lot of people shrugged it off. Come on. Every brother supplement one another. Come on, look at my channel, who is this guy? He ain't nobody. But I will vouch that the Lord is speaking to me, and there's a hidden message, and I'm not breaking it down to everyone because it's not for adolescents. It's not for those that are cut off. It's not for them that are breastfeeding. I am blessed is he whom when God cometh findeth him who is breaking meat, is making a distribution of the meat in due season. I'm offering you meat. Yesterday, hidden behind the message of everything that I shared with you about, we've been in Babylon, our fathers have been in Babylon. We've seen their idolatry, we've experienced it, we've tasted it, we've rubbed shoulders with it, we've participated in it. And we're still in Babylon, and it's a demand upon us to serve Babylon until God visits us. And I, as ever I speak, I usually put my foot in my mouth, and any form of ministry is often not altogether for them, but it's more entitled to you because God gives you wages, and he shows you after you open your mouth where you erred. And so there's generally an update saying, hey, I'm feeding you, brother. You're my child. I love you. Check this out. But the gist of it is that we remain in Babylon, and you know what? Those that are put in power and authority, they don't have a sword in their hand for naught. And they're not a terror unto good work, so therefore we pay tribute to whom we pay tribute, and honor to whom, we relent to show them respect and honor and humble ourselves, that we might learn discipline and wait patiently. As a registry is being made for the officers and for the captains, that everyone that's in God's army, that before we come out of Babylon, that there is going to be an orderly exit. And therefore, I hate to say it, I'm going to bow down and I'm going to serve Babylon until God appears to me, and he is. And it hasn't been 70 years. It's probably been 69. So we have another year, actually, before we, a year plus, just a little bit before we enter into the promised land. I want to, I make mention of open visions and dreams, things like that. It hastens the word of the Lord. It forces me to go to the Father, and so that he can break it down to me. Yesterday I talked about Peter, that Zerubbabel, the Spirit of God, was going to lay the foundation and the cornerstone, screaming out, grace, grace. The Spirit of God's going to lay out the foundation, and he's going to hold the plumb line. Those that are participating in this are going to receive their inheritance. So, stop the head of the corner. The rock of offense. The stumbling block to many. Check it out. So, we're not there yet, but God he's assembling his army, and there is a registry that's taking place, and the angels of God are hard at work. And even those that, check it out. Everybody that wants to say, oh, well, I'm one of the 144,000. Duh. You foolish, foolish, foolish. Foolish virgins. Don't you know that 144 is the measure of a man? And it is as a bride adorned for his groom that comes down from above? Nada. So get off of it. I don't want to hear it. All our forefathers, those predecessors that did all the foundation and built the walls, our apostles, these apostles and everyone else that's a composite of the holy city that's coming down New Jerusalem, has to do with the measure of a man. And they're working in capacity, in every capacity possible in our behalf. And every eye and every nation, the eyes are on us. It's like the Hunger Games. Who's going to win? Well, I already know who's going to win. And God is raising up his children. Just like in the old days, the playbook's being played again, and it's being made manifest, and it's being made manifold to us. I got off track there, just a tadpole. But anyway, Zerubbabel's going to build the foundation, but the gist of the whole message yesterday was about Petra. Who do you say that I am, is what Jesus said. He didn't convey it to them that he was the Christ, the Son of God, but Peter received it as a revelation from the Father. And by this stone, this truth, the gates of hell shall not prevail against you. For straight is the gate, and the prison doors of Babylon open up. They open up and they let Peter out of prison. And because what happened to him, that he was beating on the door just like I was beating on your door to reveal it to my brethren. But they weren't ready. They didn't believe. And it took them a while. It took them a while, and it's going to take you a while. It's going to take a lot of yous a while before you open the door to this revelation. That's right. That Jesus is the gate. Jesus is the gate, and he will open it up to you, even though presently many of us are in some form of prison. Spiritual prison, electronic prison. They just destroy the blood-brain barrier with its technology. All the inflammation, my headaches. When I wake up, oh my God, what a prison that I'm in. Rupturing the capillaries in your lungs, leaving open lesions. Can you imagine what it's doing to your heart, your arteries, to your liver, your kidneys, to all the vital organs and precious tissue? What this technology does to us? We pine away daily. It's only God that strengthens us. And he is the gate, and he's going to open the prison doors for everyone that is called, chosen, and they are the elect. And what did he say? He said, cast out the bondwoman and her child, because she hath no part with us, because we're the children of promise, and our mother is Jerusalem, New Jerusalem. So come out from among them, and be no more bound to the law of sin and death and the works of the flesh, and take upon you the garment of praise, grace and mercy, truth and justice, and serve him with all your heart. I had another video in the past, and I can see I'm not going to get there because I don't want this video, because I lose all of my, listening ears. I had an open vision about, Jesus standing on a fishing boat upon the waters. He was as tall as the mast of the boat, dressed in pure white garments, and he spoke upon the waters. A humble church. Yeah, Jesus, the church, everything being centered around Christ, the resurrection. And then God showed me a submarine under the water. It was, it had a red star and had the name China on there. Well, the dragon that gives power unto the beast. And I thought about that, and there's 4 length, breadth, height, depth. We can look at it 4 different ways, and all 4 ways are right on the money. But let me just share with one way to look at it. Our Samsung TVs and our Samsung phones and Huawei, hosting and networking. And oh, guess what? 2 days after, we see that James Coney sold the hammer technology to China. We see the left and the liberals, in bed with China. We see all the transfer of, students and those that are doing postgraduate research studies, in the medical and biochemical laboratories. Yeah. So, China is just one part and a bigger piece of a huge conglomerate of those that want to destroy the true church of God. And don't think that we aren't going to war with China. We've actually been at war with many of these nations for a long time. You just fell asleep. But the big one is coming. And let me just give you a little heads up on what's coming. The Lord showed me another open. So I'm going to finish up on that. So in other words, that's confirmation that China, and that's a figure type. It's not limited to China, all right, which really is in bed with the Vatican, the Jesuits, that part of the team. There's 2 teams, on a chessboard. There's the white ones and the black ones. And there's the ram and there's the goat. All right, that's where we're at, principalities and powers. But I had another open vision, and, I've had a real difficult time, and I can't convey all the ingredients and the facts about that, but I will say this. On the 10th of Nisan, major subatomic warheads, quantum mechanics, are going to explode in 7 cities. And God showed me what those cities are. And it's a very pinnacle date, as we look at maybe 69 years rather than 70 years, which I said the other day that it's time. Well, it's not time, but you need to prepare because that time is approaching and it's coming fast. The 10th of Nisan is the 27th approximately of March. These were the 4 days in the Jewish holiday where Jesus came, the gate, came through the gate to inspect the lambs that were going to be offered the following 8 days, which are the 8 days of the Passover. This year, those people that are faithful are going to, maybe they didn't do it in the past, but they're going to participate in the Passover. Not the ritual, but they're going to understand the meaning of the 8 days of the Passover. Because I'll assure you, as you should be preparing now, in not only the carnal but the spiritual aspects of a climatic event that is going to occur on the earth that will cause so much distress, and will probably be the kickoff of the big Super Bowl game between the two massive teams of principalities, which would be Greece and the principalities of Persia, the ram and the goat. Unfortunately, the United States and the UK and Australia and other, Eastern Bloc countries are a part of the Baphomet or the goat, Rome, Grecia. That's right. The Hellenistic Republic, Vatican at the helm, the Jesuits at the helm. All of Greece, all the roads lead to Rome. Okay? Yeah, oh, yeah. So God showed me a Stork. Oh, he showed me a big, huge battleship in the Pacific coast. He showed me a Stork flying with this round spinning ball. And I've had to research, and take it to the Lord to understand, what does that mean? What is it spinning? Then I looked at fusion and fission and nuclear, and it lined right up. And when you go to Zechariah, you can see the Stork and what it represents. Even Grisha talks about the Stork basically protecting the empire of Greece, Rome. So this goat, Baphomet, Satan, that intends to do this wants to preserve its empire. And they're gods of war. They're deceptive, lying, satanic principalities that seem to have a huge influence of government, money, and a religious expression, over its jurisdiction or territory. And the church, unbeknownst, has been given, like I showed you what God revealed to me in an open vision and 30 years ago, that the bow of the ship of modern Christendom has a ram's head on it. But the shields on the side of the serpent or the dragon boat are Hellenistic Republic, which is Greece. So a house divided can't stand. The church is under the influence of multiple principalities, just like our Senate and our House of Representatives are Republicans, Democrats. The legs of iron on the idol image, Daniel explained to Nebuchadnezzar that the two legs, are divided and they cannot stand. This terrible beast of iron that crushes with its teeth and stamps the whole world, into powder, in a destructive residual. Yeah, it's a monster. Hey. You know what? And because of our iniquities, the iron of Jerusalem, because the powers that be have scattered the powers of the saints, so that they couldn't lift up their head. And as a result of their iniquity, their iron cannot break the northern iron steel. So that's why we humble ourselves and we serve Babylon until God's time. Okay. We humble ourselves and we consort among ourselves as a registry is taken. God's going to send me 10 mighty men of valor, and we're going to work together. If you're one of those 10, I want you to request my phone number or whatever, and I want you to privately text me that you believe God has put the unction in your heart, that you're one of those 10s. And I will not judge you before the time, because God's raising up his army, his officers, and his, I forget some of these words, commanders in chief, he's going to put sergeants or captains over, lieutenants and generals, etc. So I have a lot to say about this subatomic attack and the delivery system and the cities that are going to be involved in this nightmare. And you need to prepare yourself. I know that it lines right up with Miriam, the three patriarchs, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, and it coordinates with the death of Miriam and the loss or lack of water. So we're going to have a water problem, whether it be spiritual teachings or, the absence in our distress and scarcity. And, as the heavens and the earth are shaking, there's going to be a water problem, So and we'll talk about those things later. I'm not at liberty to tell you which of the 7 cities are going to get the full front or the blast. It's going to create earthquakes. It's going to cause some, like tsunami type situations. And I haven't delved into it. I'm still asking, and I'm not at liberty. I'm not my own. God restrains me. I can only do what he's doing. That's Petra. That's the rock. Okay, that's what opens the gate. You see what I'm saying? That's how we're justified. That's how that's what the true church does. That's how they keep covenant. Not by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Satan said, hey, can you turn these stones into bread? And you know what? Oh, yeah, that's right. So we don't live on bread and water. When it comes to a certain point in time in our lives, as we, run through the gauntlet of life, as God refines us as gold is refined in the furnace of affliction. There's a day when we're weaned from our mother, and we take the seat even as our Father does, because we seek the Father and we do what he's doing. And although we have all things and we're sons of God, but we humble ourselves as a servant. I got a long message. I mean, God, the angels of God are ascending and descending before me, and I got so much that I need to speak of. It's expedient that I speak to you about these things. But I want you to know that once this Passover and this 10th of Nisan occurs, there is 1 year. Precisely, exactly. As we exit Babylon or the land of the north, 1 year until we enter the promised land. And you know what happened with Moses and the Israelites. We know that there was a lot of things once they entered the promised land that they had to do in order to overthrow the enemies, in order to take what is ours and what is promised to us. So just because, that all this calamity and hell is going to be broken loose, you need to be still and know that I'm God. And you need to chasten yourself and intercede for your brothers and sisters, because this is not going to be any, I want to use effing, but picnic. There's going to be a lot required of you, and that there's going to be those that are weak in faith, and there's going to be people that are maimed and they have wounds. We're going to have to look after one another in order to make this all happen. Trust and believe. It is happening. And God's telling me exactly what to do. And these 10 mighty men that God's going to give me, and he's going to add to those 10. But for now, he promised me that he would give me 10 men of valor. Okay, we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss these things. We're going to come, let come and let us reason together about these things. Okay. Instead of my spiel, I'm gonna make another video. I know that my phone is loaded up with evidence against these locusts that come out of the bottomless pit, this AI, quantum AI, D-Wave, self-learning conscious computer, CERN, these open portholes, Prince of Power of the Air, an endless, bottomless pit of algorithms and decrypting and codes, the Satan system, silent assassination to amplified or associate networks, adversarial and malicious neural networks. They're the northern army that are coming against Jerusalem, that are looking for every weak spot and exploiting our lies and our weakness. And only by the strength and through the truth of God, His Spirit, are we able to fortify those weaknesses so that AI cannot breach us again. Get down, brother, get down. I know what's going on. God has revealed it to me. He's revealed it to me, and I wish I could help a lot of those targeted individuals. They're going to keep burning and burning and burning and burning and burning, because they didn't seek the kingdom first, and they will keep burning. And I wish I could pluck them out, but in God's time, God willing, if I could pluck them all out, I would. But be Spirit-led. The chances of plucking a man out might depend on you interceding and actually having compassion and pity for them. So grab a hold of one of them and don't move until God moves. Intercede for them, stand in the gap, build up the hedge for them. I cannot save them all. I can't save any of them unless God is with me. And so as a soldier for Christ, entangle yourself not in the affairs of this world. Be valiant in war and say, here am I, Lord, send me. Send me to this man one by one. You go out and pluck them from the fire, if it were at all possible. And bring them to the table with us, and let us reason together. And I want to go to one here, and I'm not going to read it, but because I'm going to end this video, but it has to do with Abner and the Bible and the whole conflict between the separation of Judah and Israel. And there was a certain point where, Saul pretty much, failed the house of Saul, Jonathan, and the whole conflict with David. And then, instead of Abner, the chief, his right-hand man, through power and effect, put the principles of the spiritual enterprise of both the north and the south of the promised land, Judah and Israel, at odds one another until they finally came together. So Ishbosheth was king of Israel, and David became king of Judah, and he resided in Jerusalem, made it capital city. But eventually, as time progressed, the conflict between Judah and Israel should cease, and Ishbosheth accused Abner of, doing something that wasn't quite right. And so Abner said, you know what? I'm done with you, Ishbosheth. And I'm going to go and I'm going to establish David. That scripture is 2 Samuel 3:9. I don't think I wrote that here. So God gave me that. He was saying, let's get past our differences. Those that, God places in authority over His church, over His family, that rule from Jerusalem. And they go to the throne of grace, and God sends them out as His ambassadors, as generals, colonels, as His priests, representatives, that those of Israel, which are many, many, many more. Judah was a very small minority compared to the whole, or to the sum. And so let's put past our indifferences about, who the hell gave him the authority to do these things. So Abner chose to establish Israel, as a one accord. And like I said, I'm not going to read it. You can go there. I encourage you to go there. God's breaking it down to me. I'm breaking it down to you. So get down, get down. Until next time, I love you. You know what? Stay in prayer. Gorge yourself on that word. Love one another. Reach out to them. Admonish your brother. Strengthen him. Strengthen him, because this battle, this huge battle, it's coming to the forefront, and the time is short. March 27 is not far away, and Jesus is going to come, and he's going to inspect you to find out whether you are worthy to be sacrificed. We have until then, before Jesus comes through the gate, to inspect the work that is required of you today, now, to see whether you're worthy to be offered up as a living sacrifice, so that the entire universe and all the nations on this earth can watch and see who are the sons of God and who are servants. Okay? All right. Love y'all. Goodbye.